whenever you think of any investment, don't ever say to yourself, ये तो SBI ये default नहीं कर सकता, ये LIC ये default नहीं कर सकता. If the biggest country in the world can default, anything can default, right?
My name is Arpit Arora. I'm India's leading personal finance expert and passive income coach, and I'm on that quest to change the middle class of India and transform their financial life in such a way that they are able to have the potential to follow their passion. They have the focus to follow their passion. They are not distracted by money because they're creating enough passive income, and most importantly, they're able to live with inner peace and joy. And that, my friends, happens by winning the game of money. That happens when you upgrade your financial IQ, and that most importantly happens when you are committed to achieve financial freedom in your life, because it cannot happen without a commitment. And it is my commitment to make sure you get all the support that you need to walk and achieve that destination.
First thing is a concept that I want to share with you today, which has been affecting us for such a long period of time and we don't even know it. What is that? It's called the US debt ceiling. So, what is US debt ceiling? Anyone heard about this concept before? आपने कभी सुना है पहले? US debt ceiling ये क्या होता है? What is this concept? No? Anyone not heard? So, in the US, in the 1970s, what happened was US was about to default. As a sovereign, US was about to default in 1971, if I'm not wrong. The president at that time spoke to the head of Federal Reserve, and they came up with an idea that we don't have enough money to give back to our country because people are redeeming the bonds. Like India में RBI के bonds होते हैं, which is a sovereign bond. ऐसे ही US के भी अपने bonds से people were redeeming that bond because there was a war happening at that time, and people feared that the government does not have enough money because they're spending too much money on the war. And while that was happening, people started redeeming their bond. US almost had no money left, only few days worth of money left. Now they had no option; they were going to default. What did they do? They came up with an idea that rather than having physical gold and physical assets, जिसके against में they are printing the currency, they moved from that into something known as a fiat currency, which means that you can print as much money as you want. You don't need to have physical assets. You can simply have a digital promissory note, which is a currency note that we look at today. That this is a promissory note कि इतना पैसा आपको मिलेगा. This is what it means. Even Indian currency, European currency, the euro, Indian yen, and US dollar, pound as well. These are all promissory notes. These are all fiat currencies. So इसमें क्या होता है कि now you can print as much debt as you like. You can print as much money as you like. अभी आपको physical assets लेने की कोई जरूरत नहीं है. आपके पास physical gold होने की कोई जरूरत नहीं है. When this happened, they also wanted to keep a check on this. कि unlimited print कर सकते हो फिर तो आप. So they created something known as the US debt ceiling, that the debt that they will print, there will be a ceiling on it. So what is the concept? It's the limit to how much debt the federal government can have at once. Okay. It was imposed by the Congress, which is their parliament. Not raising the ceiling could lead to total debt default. So the whole idea was that the ceiling always is kept there so that too much money is not printed at once. And it will focus on the national attention on debt as well. Ceiling will keep things on check. So this is the graph, what you are seeing on the screen. This is the US debt, the ceiling as well as the amount of money that they have been printing over this period of time. Currently, since the 1981 to 2022, the US debt has only been increasing. You will see something very interesting. From 81 to 2001, the debt was not as going up as steep as it is from 2001 to 2022. From in the last 23 years, friends, can you see this? Can you see that the debt ceiling, the pace has gone up from 2001 to 2023, like really fast. And you'll also be amazed to know that the debt ceiling is temporarily suspended since 2013, since the last 10 years. As on date, they have the highest amount of $31 trillion, not million, not billion, $1 trillion in debt, October 2022 data. So, what are the pros and cons of this? It holds the nation's finances in check. Obviously, the debt ceiling is important. It can also be used to fund federal operations because the debt ceiling allows you can print more. It improves the efficiency of government's ability to fund obligations like social security or medical benefits. So you can print that debt. With that debt, you can give more money to the people. But more than that, it has been used for the cons. What it is happening is they're easily raising it and encouraging fiscal irresponsibility. Every time the US ends up doing mistakes, the taxpayers end up paying the money. 2008 crisis was all about that. We spoke about it so many times in the past. So it makes the government more irresponsible. I surely feel so. It lowers the credit rating because obviously more debt and the cost of debt is also increasing. So effectively speaking, if US being the biggest economy in the world, if someone says buy US bonds, I would rather buy a private company's bond than buying US bonds. Why? Because the balance sheet of US is in negative. The amount of debt that they have versus the sort of income that they're generating, they have a negative balance sheet as a country. Even if they're the biggest world superpower, I still don't care. I will not invest. That's the sort of mindset we have. And obviously, it's very controversial how much debt is right at this time. So it's something that now you must be wondering that, but okay, fine, all this is great. Arpit, I am not American, I'm Indian. I know that. How does it affect you? That's the most important question. That is the reason why we're discussing this. See, if more debt is going to be printed, what will happen? More money will be there in circulation. If more money will be there in circulation, what will happen? More inflation. If more inflation will happen, then what will the central banker have to do? Increase the interest rates. If interest rates in America go up and America and India will have a trade disparity, what will India have to do? Increase their interest rates. When India may interest rates go up and the businesses mostly work on borrowing, what will that mean? That either the business will not be able to borrow enough or the cost of the borrowing for the business will go up, which means the profit for the business will be reduced because the cost of borrowing has gone up. Means gross profit may say more interest paid to the bank will go out and less net profit will be left, which means on one side the profits of the business will go down, which means the stocks will not perform as well. On the contrary, there are other assets which benefit from this. Real estate benefits from this. Precious metal like gold and silver benefit from this. So it has varied effects on different assets. So effectively, what we are seeing is just in the last 20 years, with the way with which the US is changing their nation's finances, is affecting the return on your investment as well. So whenever we see the US is increasing the interest rates up and down, don't you see a lot of shock waves come across the world? And all of that is happening simply now, you know the main reason why this is happening. It is happening because of this. Because they are able to print as much as they want and they're able to raise the ceiling or suspend it altogether. This is the reason why. And there are a lot of people who've been saying this over and over again that there will come a day that the US will default totally because they would have had so much debt that it would be clear to everyone that it is impossible for this country to pay back this sort of debt, and that will be the fall of the US dollar. Now, that's something that can take a few decades to happen. but I surely feel I agree with them. They will come one day. US surely will not be the world power. We have already discussed this. The dollar will not be the main denomination currency in the world. We've discussed that too. And US will default. That too is a certainty if they continue at this pace. So now knowing that, whenever you think of any investment, don't ever say to yourself, ये तो SBI default नहीं कर सकता, ये LIC default नहीं कर सकता. If the biggest country in the world can default, anything can default, right?